Καταρχήν να ευχαριστήσω τους...
First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for the invitation to speak during this conference. It's the first time that I'm addressing an audience who is not related to mechanical engineering. Your Reverence, dear friends, artificial intelligence at the service of biomedical technology and the science of diagnosis and maintenance of cultural heritage objects. The ORMYLIA Foundation example. What I'll talk to you about has to do with material that has come to us from other scientific papers, in the midst of which we use AI a lot. And the bulk of the work comes from a mobile laboratory throughout the world. There are different tomography techniques. There are spectroscopy imaging at the service of cultural heritage maintenance, authentication, and identification of time period. Some parts of this presentation have to do with another interesting piece of work that we do at the laboratory, quite demanding, and it follows the first one. It is the revelation, the tracing of the adventure of an object through time, the radiation, luminescence, and the wave stimulation of the structure of this object. We look for a trace, something infinitesimal, that is, hence the tracing. Here, technology is very useful. This is a synthetic work, synergistic one. The ORMYLIA Foundation, for you to understand, is a research center specializing in different tomography techniques, using different radiation techniques, enabling it to analyze an object, measuring nanometers to meters with the respective resolution. And in this way, it sheds light on the object's cultural stock and traces the history in space and time, creating a new cultural stock that is, a historian of the future will be able to look back and find elements of cultural heritage. Are elements included? The second important thing is that this know-how has been developing actions, following previous actions, with the same smart specialization. We'll show you examples to prove our point. Equally as important is the fact that this science helps the ORMYLIA Foundation perform its social work, which is of great importance, and there is synergy with the industry in developing projects on the level of services rendered. The Asia Minor Conference will be organized by the ORMYLIA Foundation. You will see the advertisement of this conference, and of course artificial intelligence is included there. There is a problem of terminology, to my understanding, in your domain, not ours. You may have seen that artificial intelligence, and generally speaking, all these techniques need sensors. They need the special sources of data with spectroscopy, radar, ultrasounds of different frequencies, and the holistic approach of them and the composition on the basis of robotic techniques as well, as you can see here. Oops, you see that the laser pointer is not functioning properly. Okay, let's go back. You can play the video from afar. So all these sensors get data of an image or an object of cultural heritage, employing techniques of robotics and artificial intelligence. So you can see here that the system, at its full evolution in a very smart way, understands the forms of the object and identifies a specific point that it measures. And here we have the quintessence of smart software and artificial intelligence at the service of a different process. It's not the center. And artificial intelligence is not the center of anything, it's purely a tool. Here you can see different robotic mechanisms developed specifically for the project concerning archaeological findings and the location of Vergina, northern Greece, Macedonia. You can see here suitcase equipment. We travel throughout the world, and we have worked where you see on the map the lengths and breadths of the planet, the other side of the Atlantic. We have either received objects or we went to them. Let me show you some cases. I said before, we measure from nanometers to a whole dig, ceramics, glass. You can see here, I should have said it, we have a huge database, so we have sensors feeding us data and big data, a lot of data. This is what we want for artificial intelligence. In our database of the archaeology department, we have data going back the 17th century BC, frescoes, gems, ceramics, marbles from the best known monuments of the planet, ceramics, pieces of mosaic, metal objects, coins and artifacts, paintings, pictures, and we even have modern items of the 21st century. And as I said before, we measure from nanometers to meters. What do we deliver in the end? In an object, we have embedded in a DICON file, as we do in medicine. We incorporate the information of the object. We show the materials, the overcoats of painting and its history throughout time and space. This is not an archaeometry conference. I shan't elaborate any further. What we do as experts at our laboratory is first there was word. You know, at the technical university, in the first 2 years, sometimes we grow indignant. We do a lot of mathematics and we talk about, we use a very strong expression. If we have professors from abroad, they use calculus, but in Greek we use logismos, stemming from the word logos, that is structured thought, an inherent wisdom. So in 1993, it was the time that I came in contact the first time with artificial intelligence. Because of their computers, the theory of chaos and fractals were in the forefront. So what is this theory about? What you see here? Most of the times I present from my PC, says the speaker. From a small pattern of form, it starts with a small triangle. We end up in a very complex form that may appear random to you because this is a stochastic signal theory, but it has a very high level degree of organization. I could define it as a work of art occasionally, and it's not far from reality because this is what we are called upon to do, and there AI plays a strong role. We do things in reverse. From this final form, we see what happens inside, in the inner parts of the work of art. Very difficult. I was listening to what was being said at the conference today, and I chose the slides back then. We need noise-free algorithms or artifact-free. We can't find a very small thing in this complex structure if our algorithm has not cast aside superfluous information, and the same process is followed again exhaustively without divergence. I think this is, in fact, tantamount to hesychasm and monastic life. The excellent progress we see in this day and age conceptually can be similar to the life that we propose. And I'm saying this during a conference of the clergy, first and foremost. There is an issue. Everybody talks about artificial intelligence. Artificial. The first time we found the term artificial was in Galen and Hippocrates. Galen said it for the first time. Intelligence combinatorial, taking into account all degrees of freedom, variables, problems, organization, and of course, everything leads to the finalization of a result, a solution of a problem. When the algorithm runs to yield results, things end there, according to Plato. And this is tantamount to a result. Don't think that the strong phrases from the Greek Orthodox tradition that we analyzed, and we did a very good paper with Mr. Zorbas. It was a coincidence that we are co moderating the same session here today. All these govern strongly the science of mechanics. I'll cast this aside because I don't have time. So, artificial intelligence is a capability of a computer or a robot controlled by a PC to control work that is habitually done by sentient beings. It is something related to the ability of people to contemplate things, to discover meaning, to make generalizations, or to draw on their past. Computers can program and execute very complex combinatorial tasks. Despite the continuity of progress, the velocity of processing of a PC does not go near the flexibility of the human nature, or has not done it yet. However, this was from a presentation of 2023. However, today we have programs that perform equally as well as experts. Somebody said before that the machine did better than the expert. It's not true. Up to 9 months ago, the latest news was that if you run the experiment to look at a breast cancer, and if you have 1,000 doctors, the machine is better. But if you use expert mammographers, then the human doctors supersede. So let's see some examples of this artificial intelligence technology in different works of art. What lies beneath is a very high degree of organization. Pedzikis, you see the work of art, and you'll see boxes. The beamer cannot show you very well. There is a codification with a number of lines corresponding to numbers. We have decoded it, deciphered it. Behind, you can see that there is an algorithm showing the end outcome of the work. There are 4 or 5 artists that do this. You see numbers and letters transformed into this work of art in the end. The ability to see something beneath something else is not a mean achievement. It's not a simple thing to discern a mosaic behind plastering, for example, thick plastering. Only we can do this with ultrasounds and others. With AI techniques, we find the best way to put the probe and see the mosaic underneath. You can see here application in a real mosaic. I need a little bit more time, says the speaker, but I'll wind it up anyway. You can see a Bethlehem mosaic. We can also have a supermicrotomography and see that a newspaper has been maintained or a manuscript, and we can see how it was done, or we can see with great accuracy and isolate interesting features. Imagine this little head you can see here in the mosaic of Bethlehem measures 1 centimeter. We find very small structures of interest in order to maintain this work, or find inscriptions, or find if it is authentic or not. If this painting, for example, was actually painted by Theotokopoulos in Novi Sad, Serbia. It was there that we went. We did the analysis on the spot, and you can see patterns. We ran a database, and we were given data by the Museum of Prado that has a wealth of data to say if the painting was authentic or not. Forms, different forms. We can see the beginning of creation of the object, starting from the wood. So, the primary sketch of the artist. Rough sketch. And when the results are good, we're all pleased and happy. Here you can see us recently. We tried to find something very small. So artificial intelligence has given algorithms so many data that they are now able to find something very, very small. You can see paint dye in the frieze of the Parthenon. 2008 we did the work, and the triglyphs of the Parthenon and the friezes of the Parthenon again. We had data all day all ready to go by and compare. And let's go to something else, and then I'll go to biomedicine. At the monastery of Christ Pantocrator, we revealed different phases of frescoes. You know, you can see the crucial information here that I'm showing you. It revealed underneath the frescoes the first Saint Theodore behind the last one. This is a signal of 0.1 to 0.5 nanoseconds. So we study a very, very small spectrum in infinitesimal time. It takes real education or training for the neuronal network to find it. And from the Church of Ceres, the Metropolitan Church, you can see very small, very thin film using this technique. And we prevented it from being cleaned because we revealed it with the technique. Vergina archaeological site, Macedonia, Greece. By far, we can control our robotic system. This is the whole laboratory established there on site. From home at night, we worked and we controlled the robotic mechanism to move and collect information for us to use the next day. The other field is mammography, medical imaging, generally speaking. Whatever we are talking about is related to medical imaging. Mammographies are widespread, 50% of the population, both men and women. So it is of great importance. Even today, we have misdiagnosis despite the wealth of experience. The management is performed with the use of CAD systems, computer-aided decision systems, that is. So we have AI support and help. I'll skip all this. So what do? We have a model and we give it information about the form, for example, cancer, etc. We have a lot of information. There is a model that classifies the different forms that we feed, and there is the final level of recognizing patterns and standards. And we have the final identification of this object with the form of cancer. And we can have the answer, this is benign or malignant. I would like to dwell on this only and say that we have 90% maths acquisition. We can't go higher than that. In order to improve our algorithms, we resort to techniques of meta-information. I can leave. Mr. Karagiannis, please conclude your presentation, says the moderator. Excuse me. Here we are. So here we have the results. This is a mammography dating to 2012 and another one 2016. BIRAD 3 means, mind you, be careful. She's not careful. BIRAD 4, cancer with a poor prognosis. This happened before the tools, but because of the program of AI we had, we ran this in advance, and you see that here, where it should be BIRAD 3, artificial intelligence found and identified this path, as you see it attenuated compared to the final malignancy that appeared after the year 2016. George, my dear George, please conclude, says the moderator. I wanted to show you some mathematics of neuronal networks, showing the mathematics used. I'll only show 3 slides, Father. I'll skip everything. Here, algorithms of artificial intelligence, that is neuronal networks that have been known since the 1950s, with a lot of training, because now we have a lot of data because of the internet and the speed of the networks, reach a certain ceiling. So we need a meta information. It matters whether this person that runs the algorithm to see if there is something suspicious in the breast. We know other things, age, provenance, race, etc. And they inform the decision. Here you can see the heat maps. In cases, you can see cancer identification in breasts. And finally, you can see that science helps us identify forms over the top layer here in Virgin Mary. There too, we identify forms suspicious of malignancy. The older I grow, and the older science grows, I see that there is a common truth in science. There is a common modus operandi, and this is smart specialization. This is what we do at the laboratory. And this smart specialization yields excellent results and in a universal way to manage things. I believe that post-human, I like the term because there can be post-information. It's after the first information. So after the first comes the post. We have something that happens after something else. Yes, post-human will have many tools, or the metahuman. We are moving towards the factory of the future. A professor said it. You'll see why. We can have post-humans aged 150 to 200, but what happens with our brain? Our nervous system is degenerated. Here there is great research in the diagnosis of brain diseases. We have participated in such activities. And at the end, according to everything that I presented previously, the development of this potential through science and AI is an intellectual process in harmony with our tradition. What I said at the beginning, it expands our wisdom and the time that we have as human beings. AI gives us so much time. We don't make good use of it, but it gives us time. This is the time that we need to repent. I'm saying this given the circumstances. So let's put it to the best of uses, and it's a step towards what we seek. This is the ORMYLIA Foundation. In May 2025, 9 to 11 May, we have the Conference of Technical Asia Minor Techniques. We use AI a lot in industry. And you can see we have all different sectors of science related to AI. Artificial intelligence, a factory of the future, a different topic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Georgios.